Kids a future essayist. Our lesson for today is about characters and perspective in creative nonfiction. Our lesson objectives are: recognize character development in creative nonfiction similar to that of fictional works, and identify how point of views, tone, and angle are used in creative nonfiction similar to that fictional works. The characters in your story are the individuals who will drive the plot at the very end. Your characters could be of any race, color, national origin, political background, religion, sex, age, and disability. A character that has a disability, may it be physical or behavioral, may already spark an interest among your would-be readers. If your characters are creatures that talk and act like humans, they will not only entertain your readers. You may use them as metaphors for humans in the real world. An example of this is The Animal Farm by George Orwell. One of the literary devices that would be useful to you is called characterization. Whether you are writing a work of fiction or otherwise, characterization will help you to see how your characters will interact with each other, and such, where the story will lead you. Some writers outline their characters' physical traits, beliefs, notions, speech, behavior, and etc. Having a clear view of your characters will make it easier for you to compose the dialogue. So we have here two types of narrative. The first one is plot-driven narrative, and the second one is character-driven narrative. Before you start your book publishing journey, it's always a great idea to learn as much as you can about the craft of writing. Whether it's the importance of outlines, the basics of literary devices, or even turning your novel into a screenplay. Learning is an important part of the process. Additionally, determining that will drive your writing style is also a crucial piece of the writing process. Perhaps, the two most common examples are character-driven writing and plot-driven writing. Character-driven writing focuses on the inner conflict of the characters that you have created. If you choose to use this writing style, your reader will spend time thinking about the characters and their attitudes, personal evolutions, and decisions, and how those in turn change the shape of the plot and the story as a whole. Plots that are character-driven are commonly referred to as literary fiction, due to the fact that they feature characters that possess multiple layers that are exposed as the character develops. Kapag sinabi natin character-driven narrative, the focus of your story is about the conflict of the characters. Paano ito inayos ng character, paano niya nasolusyonan yung problema, paano mag-isip yung character, and how does the character develop his personality or attitude throughout the story. Kaya siya character-driven because the focus is about the character. It provides opportunity to the readers to think what kind of character does the author created in the story. So the story depends on the character. One way to look at this style of writing is to think of plot-driven stories as the track of a roller coaster. The plot is the track and the reader follows the track throughout your book. From the moment your reader boards the roller coaster car, it means it opens your book, he or she is taken for a ride with your words and ideas through the twists, turns, and loops of your plot, which ultimately leads them to the end of the ride. In essence, without the roller coaster track, the reader could not experience the thrill of the rider. Once the reader opens your book, nadadala siya sa mga words and ideas na pinapresent mo doon sa story mo. For example, the twist. Anong meron dun sa twist? Yung gamit mong words. Your choice of words on how the author and writer presents the story. The focus of the story is the plot itself, not the character. Why? So, sabi nga natin, for example, if we have the roller coaster and the track, so yung track ng roller coaster, yun yung tinatawag natin na plot. And then once na sumakay yung reader doon sa roller coaster, so habang binabasa ni reader yung story mo, anong meron? Nagkakaroon ng twist saan? Sa words and ideas na pinresent ni writer or ni author. There are turns and loops of your plot na kung saan nagli-leads doon sa mahabang journey ng story. So kapag walang plot, anong mangyayari? The reader could not experience the thrill of the story. Hindi niya may experience, hindi niya mararamdaman o may imagine kung anong meron doon sa story. So, the focus of this plot-driven story ay yung plot mismo, yung story mismo, not the character. Once na walang plot, means walang thrill yung story mo. The reader cannot write your own story. Hindi nila mapifeel yung takbo ng story doon sa libro or doon sa sinulat mo. Again, on the side of defense, you have the character-driven writing style, where the main focus of your story is on the development of characters. So again, the focus of your story is the development of the characters. Na kung saan po, hinahanap natin dito or nag-iisip ang reader kung paano na-develop ang character, paano siya mag-isip, what are the attitudes of the characters, the personalities, and so on. And on the other side, you have the plot-driven writing style, where the plot takes center stage and the characters are added accessories. Why? Because the focus of the story is the plot itself, not the characters. The characters, sumusunod lang siya sa agos ng story. Unlike in character-driven writing style, ang focus dito ay yung character mismo. Writing creative nonfiction about people means that their tales needed to be told. As subject, they spark human interest, a description of a scene, how characters behave, and dialogue will assist in unfolding the story or driving your point. So we have two different ways to build characterization. We have direct or explicit characterization and indirect or implicit characterization. Kapag po sinabi natin direct or explicit characterization, this is when you itemize the personality and traits of your character. For example, Gino is level-headed, diplomatic, and receptive. So dito, binigay ng direkta kung ano yung personality or traits ni Gino. So si Gino daw ay level-headed, diplomatic, and receptive. Unlike in indirect or implicit characterization, it is when the writer reveals the personality and traits of your character through his or her thoughts, words, and actions. For example, gentlemen, I think we can work this out. Let us listen to each other's points first and then come up with a shared decision. Gino said, unperturbed by his quarreling workmates. So dito, hindi dito direktang sinabi kung anong personality or traits meron si Gino. Pinapaisip nito ang reader kung anong merong klaseng personality or traits na meron si Gino. So based on this statement, masasabi natin na si Gino ay isang diplomatic, level-headed, and receptive. Again, kapag sinabi natin direct or explicit characterization, you are itemizing the personality. Binibigay mo ng direkta kung ano ang personality or traits ng iyong character. While in indirect or implicit characterization, you reveal the personality through the thoughts, words, and actions of the character. So if you have to analyze the character's personality and traits base doon sa action niya, base sa thoughts niya. Alright? Tone is as important as other elements in creative nonfiction. Philip Gerard, the co-author of Writing Creating Nonfiction, sinabi niya, the author has been with us in every line, in the second way that an author participates in a nonfiction story. and that is the tone. In setting the tone of your writing, you have to consider your diction. Diction means your choice of words. You have also to consider syntax, which is the arrangement of words, and sentence structure, or the construction of sentences. The tone is evident in the speaker, dialogue, flow of the story, and action of each character. Although there is a general tone to a literary work, the tone may change based on the development of the story, the scenes, and the character. The tone of your voice affects the reader's perception of your work. Your writer's voice in general is your style of writing that you develop through time. The narrative voice is the voice of your work speaker, which is the narrator or persona. It is called authorial voice. That is why it is important for you to decide on what angle of vision and whose point of view your story will be told. So kapag sinabi natin tone, ito yung ginagamit ng writer para magkaroon ng attitude ng story. Para magkaroon ng dating ng story. So yung author, gumagamit siya ng iba't ibang elements. Katulad nga na sinabi ko kanina, the syntax, diction, gumagamit din ng imagery, and figurative language para makakreate ng story. So the author must use words to convey emotions and feelings. So paano magko-convey ni author or ni writer yung emotion and feelings ng character or doon sa story? Dapat alam niya yung mga choice of words na magagamit niya para ma-set yung tone sa emotion and feeling. So it is the choice of words, the choice of diction, the choice of syntax. So ito yung ginagamitan ng image para madala yung reader doon sa story. We already discussed the different point of views in a story. So let's have a review first. Perspective is the most important tool for writers. Choosing an effective perspective helps them create the right voice for their narratives. When readers can identify with their narrators, they can get detailed information about everything. Perspective also adds dimension to literary works. Furthermore, the writers often mix different viewpoints between alternating characters, scenes, and events. Not to be confused with the tone. This is your choice to tell it in first person, second person, or third person. The perspective character, basically, it answers whose story is this. Kaya po gumagamit tayo ng point of view para ma-determine natin kung sino ba yung nagkukwento, sino yung kinukwento niya, kwento ko ba to o kwento niya. Okay?